What we are doing is signed by Chukwuka Abiyama, great Biafrans. No matter what is happening, we know what we want. What I'm asking the Igbo leaders, those who call themselves elders, these days is time, they still have time to change. They still have time to change, because when it's time to deal with them, when we waited, because we hear the voice of our leader, he said, Biafra land must be peaceful. He's in there because of our freedom. And he will continue until we will be free. He said it, and the people don't want to hear. What they want is the money, their stomach money, how they will destroy what we were doing. We remember that Devil Romai said that he was going to build IPOB, signed IPOB, but he don't know who we are. We are determined to be free. This time around is not olden days. We are determined to be free. Whatever they choose to give all this thing, whatever what we want is to freedom, free our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu first, and we have passed of referendum now because we have begging Nigerians to settle us peaceful, but they are see that those who are telling them what to do is behind them. Great Biafrans, I will continue telling you this. Support ESN. Support ESN. Never you think that what we are doing is just formality. No, we are fighting to be free, living like other human beings on earth. We have been blessed by Chukwuka Abiyama, but those people capitalize that these resources we have, that we are the conquered people, they must control it to destroy us. No, I said, even if we will never leave this thing to our children, we, the present generation, we must free ourselves from these people. We must separate ourselves from this construction called Nigeria. We must separate ourselves from this demonic called Nigeria. We must separate ourselves from this people corruption entity called Nigeria. We are not the same thing, and we can never be. We can. There's no way. I said it, and Mazi Nnamdi, as far as God give us this kind of leader to lead us, who rejected everything, my brothers and sisters, the great ones, we must be free this time around. No two way about it. We are not thinking whether or not. What we determine is to have our freedom. Nigeria have never won a war, and they can never win us. Forget about those people who are supporting them. If we stand up to get our freedom, Nigeria can never defeat great Biafrans. No way and nothing. We are strong, and we are here to do the needful freedom to our people. Whenever we have the freedom, you can do whatever you like, but remember, what we are doing is not out of hatred. Support ESN and train yourself hard. Train yourself hard. Train yourself hard. Nigeria can never allow us to go peaceful. We must force ourselves out of these people. Mazi, Udo Chukwuka Abiyama, all the Biafrans. Udo Deregenwa Chineke for a good work.
Ndewo. Thank you very much, Mazi. Thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution. I appreciate your call. Thank you very much to every single person who has been part of this program this evening. I want to say thank you once more. I cannot thank you enough for being part of this program. You know, the reason why I always thank you guys is because it is not easy. I keep saying it. It is not easy. And the fact that you are doing it, it means you are strong. You are not a pushover. You are not just a pushover. So I thank you so much for being part of this program. And excuse me. I want to thank our people who went to Finland to protest. I want to thank each and every one of them. People like Mazi, Foreign, a lot of our people, they were there. Our leader's wife even did call in, did address our people. We saw our people delivering the required information to the government. We are grateful to all the coordinators and all IPOB officers that made sure that that occasion was a success. I thank each and every one of you. And those who could not join, especially those of us who were not there. It is a sort of, how should I put it? It's a challenge. Every time that we have an opportunity to serve, every time that we have an opportunity to tell our story, anytime that we have an opportunity to make our voices heard, it is service to Biafra land. It is something that we must be able to come together and make it happen. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you are in Italy, whether you are in France, whether you are in anywhere, America. People came all over, from all over. That is why I am thanking them. They have jobs like you and I. For a week now, I wasn't before, over a week, I wasn't on radio because I was trying to fix certain personal things. We all have a lot of issues going on, especially right now. A lot is happening. And those people, they brought out their time despite every commitment, despite every personal commitment. For me, it is a challenge. For me, it is something that I must take serious. For me, I have to take it as a serious challenge. And I hope that every one of us who is listening, who wasn't able to be there, takes it as one, so that this is really something that we must encourage. And I thank each and every one of you for being part of this program this evening. Thank you and thank you and thank you. Please do stay tuned as we, so that this is really something that we must encourage. And I thank each and every one of you for being part of this program this evening. Thank you and thank you and thank you. Please do stay tuned as we, so that this is really something that we must encourage. And I thank each and every one of you for being part of this program this evening. Thank you and thank you and thank you. Please do stay tuned as we
point. This is an aberration. I mean, you don't attack Nigerian Defense Academy and kill officers and get away with it. Yeah. The last time I was in NDA was in 2017. I went to carry out an investigation by the Minister of Defense. I wanted me to check what is going on with the training and the security environment there. I remember I spent about a week at NDA with the commandant and with the staff, you know. But something struck me, and that was every Friday, the gate of NDA is thrown open, and everybody have access to come and pray in the mosque. And I want to actually enjoin journalists to go to all military formations across the country on Friday by 1 o'clock. You are going to see the same thing happening across all military formations, including Naval Training Command Apapa, including the division in Ibadan, including NDA, including Jaji. I was in Jaji in 1994 for my junior division. And every Friday, our gate is thrown open. And everybody comes in to pray in our mosque. Even though they have their mosque outside. If you go to Defense Headquarters, I serve at Defense Headquarters as the Deputy Director, Defense Administration between 2015 and 2017. throughout my 2 years at Defense Headquarters, I received visitors only twice because of the strict security architectures at the Defense Headquarters. But every Friday, the gate of Defense Headquarters is thrown wide open for everybody to come in and do Jumat. That is the time the terrorists have the time to profile our security environment.
Has that always been the case?
It has always been the case. I've served the military intelligence for the past 35 years. It has always been the case. Our problem is religion and socio-cultural. I mean, people will expect me to come here and start talking about kinetics, about operation and so on. I've been an operational commander all my life. I commanded warships, I commanded troops, I commanded men outside Nigeria and so on. But I'm not going to come to your station to discuss kinetics. The problem is not kinetics. In 2017, 2016, I'm always a member of the Security and Intelligence Brief at the Defense Headquarters. I told them, General Lawrence Shakin then, that the challenge we have in this country cannot be solved the same way we solved the problem of Niger Delta. The Niger Delta problem was solved during Yar'Adua time, basically by me. And I told them that we can't use that same template for Boko Haram. I told General Lawrence Shakin to look at the center of gravity of the problem. And we all came together. I was made a member of the committee, including Atahiru that just died was a member of that committee in 2016-2017. And we came to a conclusion after several arguments. And the arguments were three. To identify the center of gravity of the problem, one group said it is the fighters, the Boko Haram fighters are the center of gravity, so we should go after them. Another group said the center of gravity of Boko Haram is Abubakar Shekau. So if you go after Abubakar Shekau, then the problem of Boko Haram will be solved. I took exception to the group. I said that is not the center of gravity of the problem of Boko Haram insurgency that we were having between that 2012 and 2017. And General Shakin asked me, allow me, why are you giving problem? What is the problem? Give us the answer. And I told General Shakin that if I tell you the answer, you are not going to be able to solve the problem. He said, what is the problem? I said, the center of gravity of Boko Haram and insurgency in Nigeria are the sponsors of that program. It was beyond us. Because the job we need to do is kinetics. Fight, destroy places, resolve issues. Yeah. But we cannot resolve issue of sponsors of Boko Haram that were in Buhari's government, that we know them.
When you say we, who?
I was in the military intelligence. Okay. And the Defense Headquarters staff that I work with, they know. And that was why we couldn't pursue that aspect that would have resolved that problem. Because you need to arrest people. And recently, 400 people were gathered as sponsors of Boko Haram. Why is it that Buhari government has refused to target them?
So the government knows sponsors of Boko Haram?
Of course, it's in the news. In April this year, the government said they have arrested 400 Bureau de Change related people that were sponsoring Boko Haram. They told us. And Abu Dhabi also helped us to arrest few Nigerians, tried them, we know them. Why can't this government, if not that they are partisan and they are actually part of the charade that is going on, why can't they bring those people out for trial?
So the Bureau de Change operators on the one hand, but you particularly said people in government. Are those part of the Bureau de Change, or those people that you say are in government are still there, government is aware, and government is condoning them?
The people I mentioned that are in government are not these ones they just arrested. You remember this Boko Haram issue started since 2012. Yeah. And I was in the military intelligence that time. We arrested those people it is my organization that actually conducts interrogation and interview. And they mention names. I mean, I can't come on the air and start mentioning names of people that are presently in government now that I know. Presently in government. That the boys that we arrested mentioned. Some of them are governors now. Some of them are in the Senate. Some of them are in Aso Rock. Why should a government try to cause this kind of embarrassment and insecurity to the sense of what happened yesterday? And the solution I gave them in 2017, because when I identified the center of gravity for general shocking, and they couldn't pursue it, because some of them were ministers. And what I'm saying now, the Department of State Services are listening to me. They know them.
Yeah. You know,
so the solution I gave them was that if we can't pursue the policy strategic level, because the people that we need to talk to are also, going to be difficult to deal with. I said what they should do now is to conduct two things. We should buy blimps. The blimps are not UAVs. They are not drones. Blimps are equipment that can fly up to 10,000 feet, 30,000 feet, static if you want, mobile if you want, and they carry a lot of payload. We saw them in Afghanistan. We saw them in Kenya. This will be something that can give us real-time intelligence, and we can know where these bandits or terrorists, where they emanate from, when they finish operations that they've done, where they go back to.
Okay. Well,
they did not buy this equipment up to.
Okay, you said quite a number of things. Let's pick up on some of them and see if we could make some, if we could shed some further light on some of them. Since 2012, I mean, you've been in operation, as you said, ever since that time. You questioned several people. And some people were identified at that time. Did the government at that time try any of them? Or were any of them also in government at the time?
No, the government did not try any of them, and the defense headquarters where I worked then did not pursue that line of operation because it's beyond them. The defense headquarters, actually, when you look at the defense structure of Nigeria, they lie within the policy strategic level, but basically they are operational guys. So when you have policy problem, then they cannot go beyond their master. They can write intelligence report and say this is what is going on. And we've seen that the present government know what is going on.
I'm sorry, is this a policy problem? I mean, the laws are clear. If someone is said to be involved in something as devious as this, the laws are clear. This person is meant to be arrested, questioned. I mean, it's quite clear. So is it a policy problem? We have the laws. So what is stopping the security agencies from actually enforcing the law, since that's what they are?
I think what is stopping them is like when you are a member of a church and your pastor have decided to be at a certain level of spiritualism and you're a member of that church. You cannot be higher than your pastor spiritually. You can't, no matter what you do.
So this is the same religion you spoke about?
Yes. In real life, you see that the defense headquarters cannot conduct any operations that is not sanctioned by the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
Yeah.
They cannot.
No matter how small,
they cannot. When the Yar'Adua government decided to put an end to Niger Delta militancy, that was in 2007. What he did was simple. He called all the security chiefs and all the intelligence chiefs and tasked them to come up with a solution. The Defense Intelligence Agency, the National Intelligence Agency, the Department of State Services were called with the Inspector General of Police and the Interpol to come up with a solution to the problem. Then the problem was Niger Delta. The president was Yaradua. He was dispassionate. He wanted to solve the problem. Within 6 months, we solved the problem. I remember I have to go to Angola to go and bring Herioka, and nobody in Nigeria knew what we did. All we know is that since 28 that we conducted our operation under Yaradua, Niger Delta issue has remained manageable. This government does not want to resolve this problem. They are escalating it because of tribal and religious sentiment.
So when you say this government does not want to resolve it, don't forget the same government has purchased, in fact, they're going to induct the Kanu jet because of, the insecurity situation. They have, the president has had to change guards, as it were, as a result of people's clamor. I imagine if that was not in the thinking, why would you go that length to make some of the, some of the pronouncements, the meetings that have happened, the purchase, the change of guard and the rest? Why would they do all that if they don't want to solve this?
Because that is not the solution. What you just mentioned is not the solution. When you have a problem at policy level, strategic level, operational level, when you have a problem, what you need to do is to identify the center of gravity of that problem and attack it. That's what you do. What they are doing is not attacking the center of gravity of the problem of Boko Haram and insurgency. So if the president is buying super to Kanu, is changing service chiefs, that is not the solution.
This government does not want to resolve it. Don't forget the same government has purchased, in fact, they're going to induct the Kanu jet because
you have a problem at policy level, strategic level, operational level. When you have a problem, what you need to do is to identify the center of gravity of that problem and attack it. That's what you do. What they are doing is not attacking the center of gravity of the problem of Boko Haram and insurgency. So if the president is buying super to Kanu, is changing service chiefs, that is not the solution. We are looking at the wrong side. It's not kinetic. It's politics.
Are you ruling out kinetic altogether?
I can't rule out kinetic because it's a spectrum. It's a spectrum, so you can't rule out something. But the center of gravity is what they should look at. And what is it? I'm saying it on this channel. It is the sponsor of Boko Haram and bandits.
And speaking about the sponsors, when you say the DSS, and they could be listening to you, but so they profile, part of their responsibility to profile all of these persons before they either vie for elections or before, they are nominated for any of these positions. Doesn't that happen? Don't they get intel and say, look, this and this is what we found, and then we don't think that this should proceed further? Doesn't that happen?
It does. When I worked with the DSS in 2007, because when Yaradua approved the operational order that we did, we now have to work together as a team. He actually forced all of us to sit down together and work together. I was surprised at the tremendous amount of information had by DSS. I was shocked. We in DI, I was in Defense Intelligence Agency, and when they were forced to bring out the files, I was shocked. They have so much information at DSS presently as I'm talking about what I'm talking about. They have. But you see, if a fish is going to get spoiled, it's going to start getting spoiled from the head. The DSS will not do anything except the Commander-in-Chief's body language shows that this is the direction I want to go. That is where the problem is. The DSS has tremendous information. By the time 2023 is here and somebody take over and wants to undo some of this evil that I've seen in this country, you'll be surprised names that the DSS will bring out. They have the information. There's nothing I'm going to say here that they don't have. The defense headquarters have the solution for the kinetic aspect. They do. I'm not going to come here to advise them. I work with them and they're still there. The chief of naval staff was in the intelligence with me. We were together in Defense Intelligence Agency. That's Vice Admiral Gambo. I know these people are good. They know what to do. It's not that they have problems. It has to do with politics, the sponsors, people that feel that this country should be Islamized.
Assuming but not conceding that, that all of this is the case. So what is the end game? Because I imagine as a strategist, that's what you think about. So these things are happening. What is the end game? So why will this be allowed to fester? For what purpose?
The end game for them, because normally when you want to look at this type of challenges, what you do is that you go through what we call the intelligence circle. Okay? When you do the processing and you do the analysis before dissemination point, you discover that the end game for them is to just turn this country into like a Taliban type of country. And it's a mindset. And anything goes. In other words, 10% casualties, 20% casualties is allowed in trying to achieve the end game of Islamizing this country.
That's for the terrorists, the bandits.
It's not for the terrorists and the bandits, for the sponsors. Because I told you, and I will repeat on this channel, the sponsors of Boko Haram and the bandits are the problems. And defense headquarters, the army headquarters, the naval headquarters, the air force cannot do anything about that. Buhari has to do something about that. The Interpol has the list of those people that are sponsoring Boko Haram. I work with Interpol. They should ask, if they don't know, they should ask. The government of Dubai, they have the list of those people. During the trial of those people that were caught, names were mentioned. They have the list. The government also told us that they've arrested 400 sponsors of Boko Haram. Why should the government not try those people and bring peace and harmony and safety to this nation? Why won't the government do that? Those people that are going to harass cadets and officers in NDA, they live around the place. I know NDA very well. I was in Georgia, I was in NDA as young officers, and I know the area very well. They live around the place. So why can't you put up a blimp that can see what they are doing in real time and eliminate them? Why won't you do that?
In fact, there were more details saying that
he is right. It's not about ransom. They just want to pass a message. We can come in. We can do what we need to do. And there are some hardliners in this government that are sponsoring this kind of narratives. They just want to show that they can Islamize this country. They think about Taliban. They think about the Mujahideens. And they want to replicate it in this country. And they don't care what happened. They simply don't care. As long as at the end of the day, there's Sharia and there is whatever thing they have in their head and they want to achieve. So these people that are sending messages are sponsored by Nigerians.
So if I could follow up on that quickly.
Please go ahead.
This part of what you just spoke about now, the security agencies glean this from those who they arrested over time. This is the intention.
Absolutely. The intention of it's on the internet. So it's not even about the people we interrogated. The intention is to Islamize Nigeria and practice Sharia. And it doesn't matter if some people die. It doesn't matter if you're embarrassed. It doesn't matter if our economy has degenerated. Look at the interest rate. Look at the inflation rate. Look at the debt profile of Nigeria. They don't care. As long as at the end, the Quran is at the sea. So some people in this country have this mindset. And we must tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you die. If you don't tell it, you die. Some people have this mindset to Islamize the nation. And they are in the government. And people know them. The DSS know them. The NIA know them. The DIA knows them because it is the DIA that conducted the operations that arrested these sponsors. So they know them. Why is the government,
the general area, the general area of Afaka, where the NDA is cited, is no stranger to this sort of attacks. Before now, I mean, a few other institutions around the Defense Academy have also been attacked. Talking about the Institute of Agriculture and Forestry Mechanized Division, something to that effect. I can't remember the exact name of the institution now, but we do know that they have been around this area. Now, I'm looking at the front page of Daily Trust newspapers, and they have this: why NDA security was compromised. And the first writer says, bandits leave peacefully. Peacefully is in parenthesis, near academy. There have been questions before now that sometimes, this happened in Jos, around Rukuba, that, there were attacks happening in the neighboring area, and that the military institutions did nothing. The same thing happened when there were attacks on the airport, residential area in Kaduna. That was very close to the Defense Academy. They did nothing. They attacked the forestry school in Kaduna. They did nothing. Now they have finally come for them. But the talk is that these people have been there all along. They never went anywhere. The bandits who perpetrated this attack have been there all along. Does the military really need, if this is something that is of concern to the security agencies, because it was only a matter of time from what it was seen that we're reading that these attacks were going to happen, did they really need to wait this long before they took action against people they knew were a security threat to not just them, but also the people around their environment?
Yeah, Mape, I may also shock you that some cadets have been abducted before now. And when they took these cadets away, and they demanded for ransom, as low as 400,000 naira at that time, the cadets were released after the ransom were paid. And the cadet told them that where they took them to, that they could hear the parade going on in NDA, that they were not taken far away from NDA, that every morning they hear the parade and the programs going on in NDA while they were in the camp of the terrorists. You are right. These people live around NDA. It's about social-cultural issue. As long as you are a Muslim and you speak Fufude or Hausa, you can do whatever you like and fraternize with the military and go in and out of the barracks. You are saying that the attack did not happen on Friday. Of course, it will not happen on Friday, but they have enough time to carry out surveillance. They have enough time to have insiders that will work with them. The problem is that journalists should go around our military institution this Friday and carry their cameras and see the decadence, the security breach that goes on every Friday in all military institutions across Nigeria, and tell the Minister of Defense to put a stop to that. The defense institutions, they are sacred. They are not where people can come on Friday, throw open the gate because they want to come and do Jumat. The truth is that on Sundays, we don't have such, invasion of our premises by Christians to come and pray or to come and do whatever on Sundays. But for the 35 years I spent in the military intelligence, if you go to Tego Barracks in Apapa, it's the same. The Tego Barracks is where I was trained as an intelligence officer. It's the same. On Friday, they will troop in. They throw it open. It's religion. And because we must think about solution. The Minister of Defense should stop this. They should make pronouncement and stop it. Every Friday, people should go to various mosques around them to pray and maintain the sanctity of our military institutions. That's what I want to know. At defense headquarters, every Monday, even if you go this Monday coming, you see they are always there to discuss intelligence and security brief. We discuss all topics there, including the issue of Muslims gathering every weekend. All those barriers you see at defense headquarters, And that's why I'm talking to the media. They should go there on Friday. The barrier is no longer there. It's open because it is Jumat. And this is when they come to carry out surveillance. If you look at what happened in Mogadishu Barrack, it was the same. There was the time they went there and blasted the place and killed a lot of people. It's the same people that are allowed to have access on Fridays and become members of the mess because they are, it's a social-cultural issue. So I think we should begin to look, the Minister of Defense should put an end to this, because for 35 years of my stay in the military intelligence, it has been the case. Both naval institutions, Air Force institutions, Army institutions, even the Department of State Services. Once it's Friday, the gates are thrown open, and people come from outside. And there'll be no space. They'll be all over. If you go to Defense Secretary on Friday, this Friday, you see them littered everywhere.
This conversation is usually quite tricky. I mean, people listening, some might take different perspectives to it, thinking, oh, is this a religious thing? Is this an ethnic thing? They ask, is it only Muslims you have in the military? Is it only people from this certain cultural, heritage that you have in the military? And I'd like us to tackle the issues. You have mentioned what you have called the core, as it were, of the problem. How do we tackle this without viewing it from a religious spectrum, an ethnic spectrum? Because well, Nigeria is quite, polarized across, these groups, ethnicity and religious. How do we tackle it without coming off as though you're inciting people, on those lines?
You see, one thing I discovered in this country is that when it comes to religion, everybody is very sensitive. But the fact I have laid bare is from the experience of 35 years of military intelligence. So I'm not coming to the air to whip up sentiments, no. I have been in the system. I work with Abacha government. I work with Babangida government. I work with Abdul Salam. I work with Yar'Adua Obasanjo. As a core insider of operations, I belong to a group of people that you are not supposed to see, people that you are not supposed to hear, because we have 3 classes of military officers. I belong to the wars group. I lost my family because my family does not have to know where I have been, where I have gone, and I cannot talk. I've seen Colonel Lu here, I've seen Stan Lambo. Some of us belong to that group that we are not supposed to be seen, and we are not supposed to be heard. The truth I'm telling you now is not about sentiment. Is that there are a group of people in this country that feels that this country should be Islamized. This is a fact. I say you want me to start mentioning names of people in this government that we have interrogated. I was a member of an interrogation team, and I've interrogated a very high-ranking member of this government in 2007, 2008 on the issue of Boko Haram. I interrogated him. He's in this government right now. And what was the issue? Boko Haram. And this senior officer was actually let go because he was found culpable. But right now he's in the government. You see, we must say the truth, because if you don't, this country is going down the precipice. We have been set back more than 60 years right now. We've gone back to the time before 1966 now. And whoever is coming back to repair this country has a lot of work to do. This country has never been polarized, so we cannot run away from it. We have never been this much polarized. I'm a federal person. My mind is federal. My brain is federal. My loyalty is federal. I do things for the